Before I dive in, if you're ready to stop procrastinating, you're done with feeling stuck, and you're ready to start taking aligned action, my 4-week course is being offered at 90% off to 5 courageous women right now. So if you're ready to start your journey, the link is in the comments. Now let's jump into why procrastination is not a problem of being lazy and the real reason why you're feeling stuck. Often we try to solve problems that are happening in our lives through our head. We start to intellectualize things. When we start doing that, we forget the deeper reason why we do things in the first place. Now, I want you to remember the last time you made a decision where you felt really excited about making that decision and you were completely sure about making that decision. Did that decision come from you doing a really deep analysis, weighing out the pros and cons, crunching the numbers and the data and working out the statistics? I'm genuinely curious, because what you'll find is often when we make decisions, they come from an emotional side. And so when we are not making the decisions that we need to and taking action on our goals, it's not because we have a physical laziness problem. There's a reason why our nervous system is not feeling that excited, positive energy, and instead it's feeling one of two things. It's usually either fear or overwhelm. These are the reasons why you're actually stuck. It's not laziness. You're not a lazy person. Seeing it from a perspective that you're a lazy person, it intellectualizes a problem that's actually rooted in the emotional level, because that is where your action is coming from. When you feel compelled to do something, it's an emotional response. What we need to do to get out of that stuck feeling is not try to force ourselves into action, because this is what most people do. They think they're lazy, so they try to force themselves into a schedule. They try to figure out a whole plan, and they start saying, from tomorrow I'm gonna every single day do all these 10 things, and I'll have a morning routine, and I'll do yoga, and then I'll also go for a walk. And they want to do all those things to compensate for what they feel is happening, which is they think it's laziness. Doing more is not actually going to help. Unfortunately, on the short term, you might feel like, oh wow, I'm making progress. Like this week I went for a walk twice today and I'm really doing good. I'm not a lazy person. I walk every day. But the thing is, you're not walking from a place of like, I'm genuinely excited and motivated to do this because this is just part of who I am and it helps me to be more active, for example. You're more so coming from a place of don't be lazy. You've got to do this because you've been sitting on your butt like all week. And it's coming from a negative place. That's why it's not sustainable. This is why changes don't stick. I was very surprised to find when I realized that. So when we are trying to overcome procrastination and we're trying to get out of this stuck feeling and we're feeling frustrated, we might feel overwhelmed. What we want to do is, this is basically what's happening. This is like, let's say this is your center balance. This is where your emotions are more so like neutral. You've got this end where you're feeling overwhelmed and fear, and then this is your baseline, and then you've got this positive excitement. What you want to do is, when you want to get out of this feeling stuck, right now you're in the freak out, overwhelm, fear stage. You want to first get back to center and find your baseline, and this is like a neutral baseline, and then from there you want to start thinking about getting excited about it and how that fits in with your values and who you are. That's the next step of reframing your goals, so you're not coming from a reactionary place and overcompensating for a negative feeling and then taking it as a mark that means that you're lazy, for example. The other thing what most people try to do is they go from the fear and overwhelmed, and then they skip the step, and then they try to go straight to the excitement. What they don't do is to bring their nervous system back to baseline. What I've seen is when you skip this step and you don't actually center yourself first, you're very likely to actually switch back as well. And you sort of start yo-yoing between feeling excited and feeling overwhelmed because you've never actually centered yourself. And that's where things like meditation is really good. And for everyone, it's something different. All you need to do is focus on the step 1. To get out of the fear, to get out of the overwhelm, break those goals into small, manageable tasks. And maybe step 1 for you is literally inhaling. It's the easiest, smallest step that you just cannot say no to because it's just so easy and achievable. Make that the action that you do that's going to get you out of feeling stuck. It's not taking a grand gesture and figuring out a whole big thing. It's literally actually the smallest step that you can take. That's what starts the progress. And then over time, it becomes a habit, and then so it becomes easier and easier, and then you can have bigger steps. The other thing, what you can do is you can actually change the language that you speak to yourself in your mind. When it comes to you wanting to take action on your goals, even just making a decision so you're not feeling confused anymore, what we do is we start thinking, I have to do this and I have to do that, and then I have to do this because I want this, so I have to do that. This word specifically, this wording of I have to, that can actually be a limiting thought. So reframing that into I choose to starts to involve your own volition, own judgment and action taking. What it feels like is not someone that's forcing you to do something that you have to do. It's more like I'm choosing to do this. And so it becomes more of an expression of your power. And so when you see yourself acting in your personal power, that actually starts a feedback positive loop in which future actions and future changes feel easy and they feel aligned. So just changing the language can have a deep emotional impact. And that's what we want to focus on here. Not trying to solve an emotional problem with a rational solution. We're trying to solve an emotional problem with an emotional solution, and we're trying to balance out the emotions, get back to the baseline. Let the nervous system know that you're safe. How does that work for you? Maybe it's hearing a familiar voice for you, or talking to an old friend or a very close family member. Maybe it means you go to your favorite botanical gardens. Maybe it means that you listen to your favorite song that always brings you in a happy mood. Maybe you love painting. Whatever it is for you. And see, this is where I want you to figure out what is your best way to get back to your baseline and feel safe again. This is something actually we're going to be going deeper into within the 4 weeks intensive that I mentioned earlier. So if you're interested in becoming a better version of yourself, you want to remove these old limiting beliefs and start stepping into the aligned identity that makes you feel safe and it feels authentic to you, that's what we're going to be focusing on. The link for that is in the comment below. So I'm really looking forward to hearing back from you because Saturday is when it all launches. Click the link on there and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.